Hello everyone, welcome back to another tutorial from sysadmin 102. In today's video, I will show you how to set up your WireGuard Proton VPN on your OPNSense router. Before we get started, I'm going to talk about some of the pro and con and the disclaimer about this video. So using the router VPN, the pro obviously would be enhancing your privacy. That's the ultimate goal of using a VPN. And then network wide protections, so multiple device can be using on the VPN tunnel, and that will only cost you one license. So that's another benefit at the cost reduction and for the how many licensing that you need for all your device at home. And lastly, it would be device compatibility. So there's some device like gaming console or IoT device that might not be having the capability of setting up individual VPN to tunnel through the VPN. So that way, if you're using the whole house VPN, when it connected to the Wi-Fi, it will be tunneled through the VPN. So that's another benefit of it. And with that, we can go to the cons. The con, obviously, the setup is complex. It's difficult. Not exactly, but for a typical home user, yes, it can be difficult. The next one would be switching server locations. So it's going to be a fixed locations. Switching a server location, yes, you can do it, but it's not as easy as the VPN app. You just one tap of the button and you can switch to a different locations. It doesn't work that way. And another con would be performance. So it requires certain hardware to run the VPN. Depending on your hardware, it can significantly reduce your internet speed. Additionally, you might not be able to access some of the financial sites. I know Bank of America are really strict when it comes to VPN. So if they detect that you are on a VPN, you might not be able to get on the financial institution website such as PayPal or Bank of America, as well as streaming site. I know Netflix, they try to block VPN a lot. So might not be an issue right away, but down the line it might be an issue for you. And because we're not paying for the dedicated IP address, so if you're paying Proton VPN for a dedicated IP address, would mean that only you using that IP address. We are using Proton VPN with the shared IP address, would mean that not only us, but like ethical or criminal individual might be using us as well. And if the IP addresses have been flagged for unethical activity, it's gonna causing a lot of issue accessing different kind of website. Because some website they have services that blocking all the IP address that have been flagged for unethical activity. The link for this tutorial gonna be included in the descriptions. And with that, we're gonna go over some disclaimer. So this tutorial did not cover DNS leak protections. The reason why I decided to do that because each user might have a different setup for the DNS service, and I don't want to give you one way of doing it, but it might breaking your internet because you have a different setup than I do. Alternately, you can follow my tutorial for setup a DNS over TLS using Next DNS. So ultimately, DNS leak, meaning that when you your system query and it go to a DNS servers, all you want to do it not go into like a untrusted DNS servers, such as your ISP, your internet service provider. Ultimately, that's the goal. So Next DNS, they are popular and they are value your privacy. You have control of your log retentions. You can have it retained for 1 hour, or you can retain it up to 2 years, or you don't have to keep any log at all. So that's the reason why I use Next DNS for my DNS server. And the licensing, I think the last I checked is only $20 a year, so pretty affordable. Alternately, you can use different other DNS over TOS, such as Cloudflare or like Quad9. I do believe that they provide DNS over TOS for free as well. In future video, I will cover the DNS, the leak protections, which I'm gonna show you a different setup, whichever gonna work for you, because like I said, everybody using a different setup for the DNS service, and I don't want to show you in this tutorial and breaking your internet. So with that, we're gonna get started. So step 1 of this tutorial, we would create the WireGuard configurations. You can do that by signing into your Proton VPN using the username and password. And you can use the link below that will take you directly to Proton VPN and where you need to be. So I already have it logged in. So when you go after login, you would go to downloads. It should automatically already at this page, but if not, you will select downloads. And then we're gonna roll down to this is for open VPN configuration. Do not use this one. You're gonna go down to WireGuard configuration, which is kind of down in the middle. Yes. So right here we have WireGuard configurations, and I already have one server created. For you to create another one, we're gonna select first. We can select a router, and then you're gonna select a VPN options. So here's you have a different option: moderated net, PMP port forwarding. So this one is good for the first options. It's good for if you gonna tunneling your gaming device in here. It help with a lot of issue with the net for the gaming device. Net PMP port forwarding. This is good if you're using torrent services. And lastly, a VPN accelerator. If your hardware supporting VPN accelerator, checking out that one on, it's gonna help with the speed. So I'm gonna keep the 3 on, and as well you have the level for the NetShield blocker filtering, so you can lock malware only. You can lock malware and ad tracker. I found that blocking ad tracker sometimes it make it difficult to open a certain shortened link that certain website using. So a lot of time I'm just decided to block malware only. My next DNS can handle the ad and ad tracker, or you can select no filter at all. But I'm gonna select lock malware only. And then down here, it Proton VPN automatically pick the server that the closest to you. You can do that, or if you want to pick a different server, you can go down to different city. For example, Afghan. It's just because the closest one, and you can select a create. Or if you select create right here, it automatically pick the closest server to you. So that's gonna be US California 396. And I'm gonna name it like that, so that's why I know which server is that one. 396. All right, and we're gonna select create. All right, and make sure that you downloaded the configurations file. Keep the website open because after it closes, the private key gonna be redacted, and you're not gonna able to see the private key. So it's good to keep downloaded copy. All right, and with that, we're gonna go to step number 2, which is a backup of your system configurations. This is important because if anything go wrong, or if you do anything that might wreck your internet. In fact, I actually recommended you to do automatic backup using a Google Drive API. So that's why that it constantly making a backup onto Google Drive. So something wrong with your system, either the hardware or the software. If it's software side, you can just restore it. And if the hardware, you can purchase a new one and then wrapping the configuration from the Google Drive and restore your system. I have a tutorial included if you are interested in doing that. And if you simply just make a local backup, you can go to System, Configuration, and Backup. And then you can select download the configuration file. And you wish to encrypt the configuration file, you can select that option and put your password and confirmation and select download. And that's it. I actually already make the backup. So we're going to head to the next step. All right, so step number 3 would be create WireGuard peers. So before we get started, let's go back to the dashboard. So for the purpose of this tutorial, we are on OPNSense version 24.7. All right, to create WireGuard peers, you need to go to VPN, select WireGuard, and then select peers. And then from there, we're going to select the plus icon to add a new one. And name. To keep it consistent with the written tutorial, I'm using the same as the written tutorial. So Proton VPN -US.ca, and that the 557 server. And then I'm gonna need a public key for that. So I'm gonna go back to the VPN, and then I'm gonna open up the 557. And just like I said, the private key, it only show up when you first create it. After you create it, it's gonna redact it. So make sure that you download the configuration file so we can pull it from there. But for the peers, we only need the public key for now. All right, public key. And then for the allow IP address, going to be 0.0.0.0/0. So this is the while would mean that everything going to be allowed. And then endpoint address, we're going to go back to that configurations. So endpoint going to be this address right here. All right, and then endpoint port number. By default, it's going to be 51820, but whatever the port number that they provided to you in here, typically it's going to be 51820, because that's the default for WireGuard. And then instant is going to select nothing, because we haven't created an instant for it yet. And then keep a light interval, it's going to be 25 seconds. And once you've done that, select set. And we're going to hit the apply as well. All right, and next step, we're going to create a WireGuard instance. So you can do that by select a VPN and then WireGuard and then instances. And we're going to add a new one. All right, for the name. First, I'm going to enable advanced mode. And then for the name, I'm going to call it WG for WireGuard, and then followed by Proton VPN. And then this one, we actually going to need the private key. So I'm going to open up my terminal, and then I'm going to do a change directory to the directory that I downloaded the file. And then I'm going to cat the file. It's going to be US.ca-557. All right, and that's going to give me the private key. I'm going to go in and copy that private key. For the public key, you're going to leave it blank. It's going to automatically generate it after you click save it. I know there are a lot of tutorials that, you know, they have you log in into the edit H shell to generate a public key. It probably that the old version of OPNSense. With the newer one, it automatically generates for you based on your private key. And then the listening port is gonna be 51820 as a default for WireGuard. MTU. This is an interesting one. There are a lot of debate regarding the MTU. However, typically at the WireGuard default is 1420, and if you're using it on the triple PoE network, like the DSL connections, then it would be 1412. So most of us, most likely going to be a 1420, unless you're using like DSL or triple PoE network. And then for the DNS servers, you're going to put in the one that provided by Proton VPN. So right here we got 10.2.0.1. Same thing, tunnel address. You're going to using the same one as the one that they provided in here. So 10.2.0.2/32. And then the next one, you're going to select peers. You're going to select the one you just created. And then for the gateway, we're going to using 10.2.0.3. Typically, you can choose any IP address within the tunnel address. However, for the easy, you can just +1 in the tunnel address, and that should be your gateway. And once you've done that, we're going to select set. Oh, actually, we're going to select disable route as well. I forgot. All right, and we're going to save it. And we're going to select apply. All right, next step, we're going to assign an interface to the WireGuard. So we're going to navigate to interfaces, and then we're going to select assignment. And under assignment, we're going to assign a new interface. You're going to select the WireGuard that we created earlier, and we're going to assign as a new interface. And we're going to select add. And then once you add the WireGuard, it's going to create a new interface right here. We're going to select WG_Proton VPN. And then from there, we're going to select enable interface. And you have the option to select a refrain interface removal. So that's where you're not accidentally remove it. It's optional. You can select it or not. It really don't matter. And once we've done that, we're going to select save. And then we're going to select apply changes. All right, moving on to the next step, we're going to create a gateway. So we're going to navigate it to system, and then gateway and configurations. And from here, we're going to select the plus icon to add a new gateway. And the name, we're going to call it WAN, W-A-N, _ Proton VPN. And the descriptions, you can just use the same. And then for the interface, we're going to select the interface we just created, which is WG_Proton VPN. And for the IP address, we're going to use the IP address for the endpoint. All right. And we're going to select FAR gateway. And we're going to uncheck the disable gateway monitoring. And the monitor IP, we're going to use that endpoint IP address. And when we win that, we're going to select set. And we're going to select apply. All right, next step, we're going to create aliases for the firewall. So the first one is going to be the alias that including all the subnet or all the hosts that you want to tunnel through the VPN. And the second one is going to be the alias for all local network. And then we're going to select firewall and select aliases. And then you're going to select the plus icon to add a new one. All right, and the first one for the name, we're going to call it WG_Proton VPN _net. And then obviously here I'm gonna select network, but if you're gonna select an individual host that you want to pass through the tunnel, then obviously you're gonna select host instead of network. And then in the content, you will pass the individual IP, the host that you want to tunnel through the VPN. Or in this case, I'm gonna pass through my whole subnet. So 10.13.2.1 and /24. And in the description, this is optional. However, I suggest that you should name it something. So that's why if you have multiple aliases, you know which one is which. So this one is I'm gonna call it local net that will access the tunnel. And when we done that, we're gonna save it, and we're gonna create a second one. It's gonna be RFC 1918 underscore network, and obviously it's gonna be network, and the content gonna be 192.168.0.0/16. And the second one will be 10.0.0.0/A. And lastly, 172.16.0.0/12. And we just copied it, RFC network. All right, and we're gonna save it. Once you've done that, we're gonna apply changing setting as well. All right, next step, we're gonna create a few firewall rules. So we're gonna go to firewall and then rules, and then we'll select LAN. And from here, we're gonna add a new rule. And the first thing we're gonna change is the source. So the source is gonna be the first alias that we just created. So WG underscore Proton VPN underscore nest. And destination inverse, we're gonna check that one. And the destinations, we're gonna select the second alias, RFC 1918 that we just created. And for gateway, we're gonna change it to the gateway that we created in the previous step as well. So it's gonna be wing underscore Proton VPN. And in addition to that, we're gonna select advanced features, show and hide. And this is an optional step. It's for you to set up the VPN queue switch later on. You don't have to do that if you don't want to have VPN queue switch. So we're gonna add it in the set local tag, all cap. So it's gonna be no underscore WAN and underscore ERED. So the purpose of this is for it to disconnect your internet when the gateway go down. So that way that you're not gonna connect it to your ISP DNS server when the gateways go down. All right, and we go down and select set. Once you've done that, we're gonna select the rule that we just created, and then we're gonna move it to the first one. The order where it's gonna be, it depends on how your rules is on your firewall, but typically if you don't have any, it would be the first one. The way it worked for firewall rule, it's gonna execute by order. So the first one, go down second one, and then the third one. And before we hit apply changes, we have to disable the IPv6 as well. Currently, Proton VPN does not support IPv6 on the router. So we're gonna select disable rule, click on the green arrow. That's gonna disable the IPv6. That's gonna prevent the IPv6 leakage. And we're gonna select apply changes. And next step, we're gonna create a floating rule. So you're gonna head to a firewall and then rules and floating. And we're gonna create new floating rules. add. So we're gonna uncheck the quick, and then the next one is gonna be the source. For the source, we're gonna select the WG Proton VPN address, so it's all the way down. And then for the destination, it's gonna be the same one, but it's gonna be the VPN net, not to be confused with the alias that you created earlier. All right, and for gateway, I'm gonna select the same one, WAN_Proton VPN, and then we're gonna select show and hide, and then we're gonna select allow options. And once you've done that, you're gonna select save and apply changes. And next step, we're gonna create the outbound net rules. So I'm gonna go to firewall net and then outbound, and we're gonna switch it to hybrid. So that's where we can manually add it in the rules. And we're gonna add a new one. And the only thing you need to change is the interface is gonna be the WG Proton VPN, and the source address is gonna be WG Proton VPN _net, the one the alias that we created earlier. And for the descriptions, it's gonna be outbound rule for Proton VPN. And once you've done that, we're gonna save it, and we're gonna select apply changes. And lastly, this is an optional step. We're gonna create another floating rule to create a VPN queue switch. So from firewall, we're gonna navigate to rules and floating, and then we're gonna add a new rule. And the action gonna be a block, and then interface is gonna be WAN. Direction is gonna be out. And then the descriptions, we're gonna call it the VPN queue switch. And we're gonna select show or hide. We're gonna match the local tag. It's gonna be all cap, no underscore WAN underscore ERIT. And once you've done that, we're gonna select set, and we're gonna select apply. All right, and we are on the last step, and as you see, I still don't have internet connection. Typically, it would have an IP address here for me if I connected to the VPN server. However, right now it's a connection timeout, and I don't have connection to the server, so we're gonna go investigate. So VPN, WireGuard, and instances. So some of you might experience the same like I do. If you have another VPN server already set up and it already on port 51820, the problem with it is you cannot run multiple VPN on the same port number. So I already have one running on a 51820. So that's the reason why it's not showing up on my neither one of it actually running, because I didn't know how to route the traffic. So with that, we're gonna disable the first one, and we're gonna select apply, and then disable the second one as well, and then we're gonna re-enable the second one. That gonna basically restart the instances, and I should be able to get a connection after this. Yep, perfectly. That's the IP address for the Proton VPN. So if you're in the same situation like me, all you have to do is backtrack and change the port number for the remote VPN, and you should be good to go. Make sure that you actually updating the WAN rule under the firewall as well, and change the port number to 51821 or whatnot, and as well as your client change the port number to 51821, and should be able to be up and running at the same time. And that concluded today's video. If you think the tutorial is helpful, don't forget to subscribe, like, and share. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye bye.